Hey, good evening. And welcome, everybody. Welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping. It's where we review one of the top racing cards from around the United States. We will select a four-race sequence from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us. Week number 47 of the racing season. It's back to New York, not Belmont, not Saratoga, but this is Aqueduct Racetrack. It's the Big A in Queens, New York. It's up this week. That's the pick four, starts in race number 7. It ends in race number 10. There are two stakes in the pick four on Saturday. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'll be joined by my friends and racing analysts. And this week one of them is closer than ever, although he hasn't joined us yet. So I'll get to him just a little bit later. I have one of my friends here. He's our West Coast handicapper. He is from Temecula, California. Joe English. We can't get to New York in November, so you and I might just have to settle for going to Del Mar in November, huh?
Well, that's the plan anyway. So yeah, we'll be. Unfortunately, we can't make it to New York in November. But hey, it's like in the 80s or here, so I'll take that weather anyway.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right. Last week, that was the Fairgrounds racetrack that we have in New Orleans, down in New Orleans, Louisiana. Unfortunately, we did not hit our pick four attempt. And on a more frustrating note, I was DQ'd out of a pick four in leg one. We are 0 for our last 6 pick four attempts. Time for a brief weather update, and that is from South Ozone Park in Queens, New York. The forecast for Saturday calls for sunshine and clouds. It's kind of mixed. There's a high of 58 degrees. The winds are southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour, 10% chance of rain. There are a total of 10 races, 4 stakes on tap for Saturday. For today, we are focused on the pick four that begins in race number 7, and it's going to conclude in race number 10. Joe, the gates are locked and loaded, the outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop the gate. It's pick four post time.
Let's go. And hey, 58 degrees isn't bad for the day, the weekend after Thanksgiving. So
you got to figure for New York. All right, race number 7. The approximate post time is 2:50 p.m. Eastern time, so just a little bit before noon out here for your West Coast players. It's a 1 mile on the turf. It's an optional claiming affair for non-winners of one race. The purse is $67,000 with up to $12,060 for New York State bred, foaled, or other. For filly 2-year-olds, which have never won $10,000 other than maiden claiming, starter, or state bred allowance, or optional claiming price of $80,000. 10 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 6. Nighttime Lady, trained by Chad Brown and ridden by Jose Ortiz, 2-1 on the Aqueduct morning line. Let's see. Operating near the site of a former conduit of the Brooklyn Waterworks that brought water from eastern Long Island to the Ridgework Reservoir, Aqueduct Racetrack opened on September 27th, 1894 by the Queens County Jockey Club. The track was named Aqueduct after the former Ridgewood Aqueduct. So, Ray, you are up, or excuse me, Joe, you're going to have to be up for us in the first leg here at the Big A. Who do you like in race number 7?
I have 3 horses that I kind of like in this spot. Got to include the favorite, Nighttime Lady. Chad Brown lightly raced, making her third start. Was competitive in a stake last time out. Drops into this spot. I don't think really there's much that you can say that would tell me that she's not a contender. And I think that last race, I appreciate that Jose Ortiz gets back aboard. Not that I have anything against what's his name, Paco Lopez, the rider last time out. I just think Jose Ortiz is a little bit better, and I think on the percentage wise he's better with Chad Brown's barn. And I think the horse is obviously going to improve second time going long. So I think this horse has to be included on our ticket. But that we can beat her with a couple of others who actually came out of the same race. The number 2, Pause for the Cause, and the 8, Blue Atlas. Pause for the Cause, like I said, they both came out of a turf sprint. And what I like about both of those horses is that they were competitive. And their figures are probably, let's put it this way, I believe that the race was good enough that they can be competitive with Nighttime Lady in this spot. They both, to me, also look like they're better horses going longer based because Pause for the Cause is by Giants Causeway. and the horses out of Giants Causeway seem to go better, run better when they go longer. And Blue Atlas is out of English Channel, and obviously he was a distance specialist. He won up, I believe, if I remember right. I'm not sure if he won the Breeders' Cup Turf. I thought he might have at 12 furlongs. I'm fairly certain he won the United Nations at 11 at Monmouth when he was running many moons ago. But again, they both run better, longer. They're coming out of a competitive allowance race. Even it is for state breds, that's true. And they're stepping into a little bit deeper water today. Again, with the Chad Brown filly that's dropping out of the Chelsea Flower. But I think, and the other thing is, normally I don't necessarily like Todd Pletcher horses on the turf, but he's not terrible. He's not a Bob Baffert where a lot of his turf horses are throwouts. He's at least competitive on the turf. He's not going to be able to compete with Chad Brown generally on the turf. He's a better dirt trainer, but like I said, he's not an automatic throwout when you get him on the turf. And Kieran McLaughlin has trained a few good turf horses. Dickinson last year. Obviously, he knows what he's doing. And Pause for the Cause, I think, can also improve, again, going longer out of Giants Causeway. So I went with the 6 is my top choice, but the 2 and the 8, Pause for the Cause and Blue Atlas, coming out of that same state bred allowance race, to also possibly upset the apple cart in case Nighttime Lady does not, or actually both Chad Browns were to disappoint or encounter traffic troubles. I believe it's a 10-horse field, so it's not a huge field, but it can still, obviously when you're dealing with turf races, any kind of traffic and the turf races are generally closer finishes. Any kind of traffic can cause problems. So I'd like to take a little bit of a price. The 2, Pause for the Cause, is 6-1 on the morning line. Blue Atlas is 4-1. And Nighttime Lady is your 2-1 favorite. So those are the 3 I liked in this spot. And I see somebody else has just joined the call. So I'll hand it off to you, Rich, and you can introduce our other friend.
All right. As is often the time I'm looking at the forums, I didn't see it. Welcome to the show. And I will go ahead and give my analysis in here quickly, and then I'll hand it off to the third broke guy here. I'll give you the introduction real quick. So as oftentimes, I'm not going to split by Chad Browns here. I did like the favorite a little bit here. I like Nighttime Lady. I didn't think she had done anything wrong in her 2 races. Joe, the jockey here there was Paco Lopez. And looks like she's dropping in class just a little bit today into this race. I put my check mark on the other Chad Brown. So I thought I would play that angle today. Not crazy about the fact that he came out of a maiden claiming race. But again, this is Chad Brown. Joel Rosario and him hit together at 40% together. And I thought the horse merited my check mark today. I did add the 8, which was Blue Atlas, the Todd Pletcher, Manny Franco angle, and the 2 sprints in a route angle here for Todd Pletcher. And again, I thought this was a pretty tough race. So I am going to go 3 deep. I went 6 through 8. And I wouldn't argue with anybody who even goes a little bit deeper than that, because I saw a couple of other options that were in there as well. And I am going to hand it off. We have a third broke guy who has joined us. He is actually from Staten Island, New York, for our races here in Aqueduct. And I see Ray Torado has joined us. Ray, as you heard me and Joe, we've already started. So we are up on race number 7. And who did you like in the opening leg, my friend?
All right. I'll tell you. 3 computers and 10 log on any. So we're on the old iPad here. All right, race 7. Yeah, I actually agree, you guys. My top choice was number 8, Blue Atlas. I said English Channel. She's won 2 races, 2 sprints at Belmont, the maiden allowance for one other, and stretched down and she weakened a little bit. So I think the mile might be her max distance. And she got decent speed to stay the race. So, Pletcher Franco, they've been 0 for 4 for the last 30 days. So this is a little reunion that's needed because they haven't been riding and they haven't been clicking well. I did fall in the favorite number 2, Nighttime Lady. She had a nice maiden win. And she tried the minor stake, the Chelsea Flower, and she 6 wide. She flattened out. She drops back to the 9 winners of 1, and Chad Brown You get the lead rider, Jose Ortiz. These Ortiz brothers, they've been dominating the New York circuit. They work very hard every day, and they've been riding very well. So, when in doubt, picking Ortiz. I do like number 7, Wealth Effect. Also, you can't split them like we usually try not to. 1 for 2 at the mile 16th, stepping up here. But I think she has a chance. She could be with the stablemate, during the race. They could be together and get similar trips. And I do like Rosario, but Rosario is a good tough fighter anyway. So I did follow those 3, the 8, the 6, and the 7. So we seem to be in agreement here.
All right. So we got a little bit of agreement there, at least. You got Ray and I are both on 6, 7, 8, just a little bit of a different order the way we went through them. Joe also has the 6 and the 8 covered, and he's got the 2 in there as well, I believe. Correct, Joe?
Okay.
Go ahead and come on back. Yeah. We are going to go ahead and we will move along to the first of 2 stakes races on the day. This is race number 8. They're going 6 furlongs on the turf. It is the Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship Stakes. The purse is $125,000. It's on the outer turf for 3-year-olds and upward. 13 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 13, or is that 13 or is it 11? Buchero. It's trained by Tim Gleishaw and ridden by Fernando de la Cruz. 3-1 on the Aqueduct morning line. Let's see. At Aqueduct, I did not know this. This is kind of interesting. Pope John Paul II celebrated Mass in front of a crowd of 75,000 at Aqueduct on October the 6th, 1995. Joe, is there any truth to the rumor that you and Ray waited till after that Mass in 1995 to ask PJP II for his thoughts on the late double at BB?
Well, it would have been pretty hard for me considering I was living in California at the time.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if maybe snuck back to hang out with Ray there and hit up the Pope for some race tips.
No, I don't know. I'm not sure if Pope John Paul was a racing fan, but I guess if he was at Aqueduct at some point, he must have been. Then again, I remember seeing him at Yankee Stadium. Well, I don't know, back in the early '80s, I think it was. But No, unfortunately, no, I wasn't there on that fateful day at Aqueduct. And in this race, I'm sorry, what was that, Ray?
St. Stan's. You went to St. Stan's too, no?
I don't remember. It's possible, I guess. Anyway, back to the race. The race we're trying to talk about. I went with 2 choices, and I actually like the longer shot a little bit better. I like the 8, Blind Ambition. And again, this is the old Todd Pletcher is not a toss out on the turf. I think this horse has had a little bit of time off. I see Jose Ortiz gets aboard. Not necessarily a combination that has a lot of, not necessarily respect. They just don't generally team up. Usually Todd goes with his guys, Johnny V and Castellano and a couple of others. Not that the Ortiz brothers, usually the Ortiz brothers are on the Chad Brown runners, which is why Todd probably never gets much of them. But Jose Ortiz gets aboard today. The horse is 3 for 4 on the turf. And all 3 of those wins are in sprints. The one time going long was not a bad effort in the Better Talk now at Saratoga. Beaten only a length and a half as the even money favorite that day. But obviously this horse is a little better going short. This race was a really good effort. Obviously those fractions were fast early. I'm not sure you're going to get that much pace in this race today. But I like the fact that the horse is drawn in the middle as opposed to the morning line favorite like Buchero, who's drawn the outside post and probably figures to be wide most of the way around. So I'm on the Pletcher and Jose Ortiz bandwagon with Blind Ambition. The other horse I like a little bit is off Clement stable, and that's the 3 White Flag. The stakes race 2 back was probably good enough to win in this spot. The Allied Forces. You see that the horse went up north to run in the Arctic in the graded stake at Woodbine. The soft turf may have gotten the better of him that day. Maybe it was a little bit of a bounce. Maybe it was the class relief that he needs. Maybe it was the class that was too much, and maybe he needs some of that relief today. And this is a non-graded stake and at about the same purse money. Again, Joel Rosario has had success with this horse, 2 wins out of the 3 mounts. Christophe Clement's runners are doing very well over the last 90 days. Not necessarily great at Aqueduct, but what the weird part, Rich, is that when you said something about it being an outer turf course, I'm like, wait a minute, this is Aqueduct. I never remembered that they had an outer turf course until you said that. I said, oh yeah, that's right, they just put it in.
You just put that in
because there used to be the inner dirt, and then there was the turf course, and anyway. But like I said, I like White Flag. I don't think there'll be soft turf tomorrow. Rich mentioned there was a 10% chance of rain. Ray could obviously enlighten us a little bit more about the weather, being that he's living there. So again, I think the race 2 back for White Flag is good enough to get the horse to win. I'm not too worried about the performance in the New Arctic. It wasn't a bad performance, again, finishing 3rd of 8 in a graded stake, but the horse drops back. This is the 3rd off the bench for Clement. Obviously a man who knows what he's doing. Rosario and him hit, obviously the stat there is 25%. So I got to like that horse a little bit as well. And like I said, I'm kind of against the favorite. I think the horse is marooned on the outside. The horse did run in the Breeders' Cup and actually has run pretty much, I think, 3 times now in the last, 6 weeks or 7 weeks. So the horse has been racing against high quality competition. And I kind of wonder if maybe there isn't a little bit of the horse might be worn out. And again, it's the outside post also doesn't necessarily help. So again, you see the horse run twice, once at Keeneland and in the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar. So he gets some class relief today, and he's going to be a popular selection, I would expect. But he's not going to be on my ticket. I'm going to take a stand against him, even though he's a 10-time winner. So for me, it's Blind Ambition, the 8, and White Flag, the 3, as my 2 picks in the Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship on Saturday. So 8 and 3 for me, right? What do you think? And please if you can give us more details about the weather, that would be fantastic.
Well, basically, it rained. What was it? Wednesday morning. Hello. Yeah, it rained Wednesday morning. We had rain for about 2 or 3 hours. But I think by Saturday, I mean, the weather's cool. Rain in the grass should dry up. It's been, it gets up to 45, almost 50 degrees tomorrow. So I firmly believe that the turf course should be somewhat firm. I'm not going to say totally firm, but there might be a little bit of moisture in the turf, but not enough to really make it soft. So, with the weather being cool, it won't dry up as fast. But it should be a good course. It's not going to be like crazy. So I think it'll be okay. So that being said, for this race, yeah, I'm with you. I'm going against Buchero, running back on the very light 2 weeks, whatever, for the Breeders' Cup. I'm going for a little long shots here. I do like a couple of your horses, but my top choice is number 4, Rainbow Air. This horse been running most of his races under 6 furlongs. So I think this horse surely could use the 6 furlongs. Last time Irad was on board, they had a length loss to Disco Partner, and that's, some credit because Disco Partner has won a few good races. He is actually the world record holder. And Jason Service does ship well here from New York, to New York. He's a high percentage trainer. And at 10-1, Irad jumps aboard. And he was wide of the tough monster. And he should get a good trip here. So I go with number 4. I do like Conquest Panthera, number 5. Mark Cassidy turning back, hoping to get a little better acceleration. He's a winner at 6.5, 7, 7.5. So 6 furlongs would be within the range. Cassidy reaches out for the Dylan Davis. He only raced 13 days ago, so he must be somewhat in form. He did have a good race, so he's bouncing right back. And they're at 6-1 too. So I do like White Flag, number 3. He had a nice race in soft turf at Woodbine as a favorite. That broke his 3-race winning streak. He had a Belmont. He was climbing up the ranks. He had a maiden win, allowance win. And so now he drew a good post, and Rosario gets aboard, and his little drop in class here from the grade two, and he did run third, so as the favorite, and so he was well bet that day. I do also like number eight by Ambition. Early this spring, he had the looks of a solid sprinter at Gulfstream. After the carry back falter, they decided just to move him to the turf, and he's done pretty good. He's actually two of three, and his only loss is at a mile. So now 6 furlongs should be within his range. So those are the four horses I like: the 4, 5, 3, and the 8. If I have room, I would throw the 11, but as a savior. But I'm leaning towards leaving him off my ticket. All right, Rich, we got to say about the Belmont.
Yeah, I think I do have the 11 there on my ticket as well. Unfortunately, I'm kind of grimacing as I say that. So my top pick, the check mark there is on Blind Ambition. Joe kind of alluded to what I was talking or what I was going to talk about. So I'll bring up as well that this race has almost got like a California feel to it when you look at the back page statistics, I guess as we like to call it here, with a turf race, a turf sprint, no less, 11 of them. 55% of them going wire to wire, and 55% of them going E types. Kind of interesting there that they blank out on the EP types like that, but still, I guess 6 out of 11 going to the need the lead types. And so I was looking at a horse that can either get up there on the lead or that can handle horses that are going to be on the lead. So I did put my check mark on Blind Ambition. Jose Ortiz, Todd Pletcher, I was kind of surprised at what Joe said. Not necessarily a big time combination necessarily, but the horse has been solid the last 5 or 6 races. Has just got the one clunker there, which is the carry back. Other than that, always within 1.5 or 2 lengths of a win, which includes 4 wins over those last 7 races. So I did like Blind Ambition here, coming off a little bit of a layoff, just about a 2-month layoff, and moving up in class, a little bit of that old 3 broke guy's ankle. So I've got the 8 on top. I did put the 11 in. I've done this before with looking for the horse that I believe is just going to be fastest or the quickest to that spot. And I do think that's going to be Buchero. I didn't think that the outside post would be that much of a detraction for it. And so I've got 8, 11 as my only 2 that I was using here. I think Ray's got the 4 as his top pick, and then 5, 3, 8. And Joe, I believe, has the 8 as his top pick. And then just also the 3.
Correct.
All right. And I will go ahead and come on back to you. And let's move along to the second. This is the feature race of the day. It's race number 9. They're going 1 mile and 1/8 on the main track. It's the Discovery Stakes. Grade 3. Purse is $200,000 for 3-year-olds only. 6 starters, and your morning line favorites at 5-2 is in post number 1. Spieth, trained by Kieran McLaughlin and ridden by Irad Ortiz. The Discovery Handicap honors Alfred G. Vanderbilt's great weight carrier of the 1930s, Discovery, who won under as many as 139 pounds. Wow. Among his stakes victories were the Arlington, the Brooklyn, and the Whitney handicaps. He was named champion handicap horse for 1936. Ray, running out of restricted races for the 3-year-olds, which sophomore do you like in the Discovery?
Yeah, it's short field. We have 6 horses here. I went deep in the other 2 legs, and I had a few horses in the last leg, so I was looking for a single here, and I'm going with number 5, bonus points. I think he's gonna love 9 furlongs again. He ran decent behind El Reeb in the Aqueduct inner track, and the way they constructed, because now they're gonna run in the main track all winter. And what they do is they modified the main track and they put some limestone in the bottom, whatever they do for the winterize. More like the inner track, a little bit, like half and half. And so they'll be on the main track. And this horse did run well over it. So last year. So this is a similar combination of the track that they're gonna use now. And I like the surge that Juarez gave him in Lowell. I mean, he ran very well, close from way back. And he's normally a horse that's forwardly placed. 3, 4 lengths behind. He had a bad start, and he ran well, and he really liked the distance. So I think he'll do it again. Mile and 8. He's moving up in class, but he did run also in grade threes. In Parks, he ran a decent fourth behind Pavel and Talk Logistics, and so he got some good company line. This is a race that he could probably handle. And 4-1, I think it'll be probably be more like 3-1. They might drop a point. So I'll go with him. Bonus points. Top Fletcher, Nick Juarez, and for the future. What do you think?
Hello.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I guess I didn't hear you pass it on to me.
I didn't hear it either.
No worries. It's all good. It's funny, Ray. I'm on the same horse as you are, and I guess I don't really need to add much. Other than I hope Todd Pletcher has a really big day on Saturday, because then I will be at least alive through 3 legs if he happens to. I think the last 2 races, this horse has been really, really good, really running well. And I'm not, but actually, Ray, I would like to ask a question. So this is the old. They're running this race around 1 turn out of the old chute at Aqueduct, correct?
Mile 8, yes, yeah.
Okay, because that was my understanding, was that the chute at Aqueduct is also sort of like Belmont, that it's that's a mile and an eighth. Well, but remember they run the wood around 2 turns, because they used to they I don't know, I'm not sure why they did, but now I guess because they ran the wood over the inner track for a few years, but I thought the wood was run over 2 turns. Anyway, I mean, that really doesn't necessarily matter. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that this race is still a 1-turn race. But I think this horse has a chance to the horse has improved over the last 2 races, and the race against Pavel wasn't bad. 2 back in at Parks, and the last race, like you said, after the bad start, the horse actually came around and ran a really nice figure. And Nick Juarez stays aboard. Horse has obviously been training regularly since. Usually does 4 furlongs, not necessarily fast, not necessarily slow. Some generally about the same as a Steve Asmussen would kind of train. I think this horse is just getting better, and to me, this field really isn't. I mean, I know this is a grade 2. I don't know that this is necessarily a grade 2 quality field. So I think this horse has a chance on the improvement. And again, the horse is 3 years old, and 3-year-olds, you have to take them at face value when they get better. I think this horse is better than he's ever been. Pletcher's horses have been running well in New York for years, but even over the last 90 days, he's been doing quite well. So I think a mile and 8 is probably this horse's limit, being by Majestic Warrior, but I guess we'll see. At least the horse was a closer last time out, and the horse obviously doesn't necessarily need to show a lot of speed. It might help to have some pace to run into, and maybe around 1 turn you'll get a little bit more, because they don't hit that first turn until they're about 5 furlongs into the race. But again, I guess the weather may have something to do with it. Check the winds. Running, if the wind is hurting the horses, if it's helping the horses down the stretch, you'd want the closer. If it's helping the horses down the backside, you'd want the speed. But anyway, again, I'm like with you, Ray. I like bonus points in the spot. I do also have another horse, a horse who is a B pick for me, and that's the 2. Can You Dig It? Horse is coming out of an optional. A non-winners at 2 optional claimer. Obviously, horse ran behind Twisted Tom and Control Group in the Empire Classic. 2 starts back at Belmont. Horse is 2 placings at Aqueduct. And Jimmy Jerkins is always capable of training a horse into a good race. Manny Franco gets back aboard. Again, he was behind, nose behind Control Group, who's on the outside in this spot. Again, another one who's a mile and 8 horse and might need a little pace to run into. But I think this horse has a chance at a number. I believe he's 8-1 on the morning line. But again, he's a B pick for me. My only A pick, just like Ray, is bonus points in this spot in the Discovery. at Aqueduct on Saturday. So, Rich, my guess is you have somebody else besides the 5 that we should take a look at.
I did actually. I ended up on True Timber here, besides the 5. So this is actually one of their nemesises for a little bit earlier this year. So True Timber was part of the Triple Crown races, and kind of banged around with bonus points. You see that they've got black type for each other there on the page. Never quite got to the win circle against the better types, in the Jerome, the Withers, or the Gotham. And the horse has kind of been hanging around, more of a speed type or more of a need the lead type here in a 1.8 mile race. So one of my favorite jockeys, Luis Saez, and my check mark ended up there with Kieran McLaughlin and Luis Saez. Although I did note that they are 0 for 12 together, so they've got a bit of a decent sampling sizes. And Kieran McLaughlin and Luis Saez not exactly lighting it up together. So I backed it up in this race, so I've only gone too deep in the other couple of races. So I also use Senior Investment, Kenneth McPeak, and Jose Ortiz. This were my strategies of one from the front and one from the back. So this is more of a closer, and again, kind of in against the heavy hitters a little bit early this year. Was in the Preakness, was in the Belmont, even tried the Belmont Derby on turf, and then went up to try at Woodbine in the Ontario Derby as well. So I went 3-4 in this case. I believe Ray went with the 5, and Joe went with Joe went with the 5 on top, and the 2 was more of a B pick for Joe.
Yep, you got it, Rich.
All right, let me go ahead and come on back to you guys. We'll move along to our finale. And this is race number 10, and they are going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. It's a claiming race. $35,000 for non-winners of 3 races lifetime. Purse is $42,000. Includes up to $7,560 for the New York State bred fold. For 3-year-olds upward, which have never won 3 races, 15 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 10, Cheyenne Bull, trained by Jason Service and ridden by Irad Ortiz, 3-1 on the Big A morning line. It's a little known or long lost fact that the track played host to the 2nd ever Breeders' Cup on November 2nd, 1985. Joe, who do you like in the finale?
Proud Truth won the Classic that day. I remember the day quite well. Ray, I'm sorry, Rich, is this the outer turf or the inner turf? Not that it really makes a difference. I just want to, for clarity's sake.
No, this is the inner turf.
The inner turf? Okay. Again, I don't know that it really makes that much of a difference. Maybe I'm not sure if the statistics are different from the outer turf to the inner turf, because they've only had an inner turf for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
So I like the second choice in the morning line. I like the 6, the best, Strike Midnight. This is a horse who's coming out of stakes races in the past, but has hit, I don't want to say has hit rock bottom, but hasn't won in quite some time. But she's been facing better. I should make sure that this is a she. Actually, I'm sorry, it's a colt. Strike Midnight, seems like to me the horse has been facing better, especially down at Gulfstream earlier in the year, and has had some wide trips. But the horse's races all seem to run about the same. And I think, again, the fact that the other horses, the favorites, drawn a little bit further outside, Midnight a little bit better. Again, she's coming out of stakes races. You see the Hill Prince, the Saranac, the Gio Ponte earlier in the year. Luis Saez gets back aboard. This is the lowest level she's been at in a while, and again, she's only 1 for 13. So at 7-2, I wouldn't necessarily endorse singling any horse like this ever. But this is a third time off the claim for Phil Serpe. Again, she finished a length and a half back in a similar spot about 3 weeks ago. I think this horse has a chance, drawn better than usual. So I'm sorry, I thought I said the 6. It's the 8. Strike Midnight is the horse that I like on top. I just want to make sure I get the right program number. My other A pick in this race is the 3 Acoustic, Rodriguez and Paco Lopez, and I think the horse had gotten good at Saratoga, and maybe had bounced the last couple of starts, and maybe getting back to Aqueduct, getting back. I think this horse is cycling back to a good race. Again, because of the size of the field and the fact that it's not the horse has been competitive against non-winners of 3 before. With Paco Lopez, a few races back. Again, Rudy Rodriguez obviously is on fire, winning at 29%. You see 11 for 38 with 9 seconds. So you must respect every horse that he sends out. Turf or dirt, generally a better dirt trainer than a turf trainer. But at 12-1, I'm going to take a chance that this horse has a chance. Again, drawn better than the other favorites. And 12-1 in the morning line with Paco Lopez is obviously more possible. There's a possibility here. Drawn inside of the other horses, the horses that should probably be his main competition. And I did have a B pick, and that's the number 2, Lone Trader, for lightly known trainer. I mean, I guess in New York, Mike Maselli's known, but Joel Rosario gets the ride. The horse has been running. Obviously you see Irad Ortiz has been on before, running in turf sprints. The mile 3 races back. Again, the horse hasn't been able to break through. 2 for 26 lifetime and 1 for the last 16. But I think the horse is competitive here. The last race was a really nice rally on the Belmont turf course, going 7 furlongs. You're going to go a little bit longer, a mile and a 16 today. So maybe the horse can sustain that rally a little bit longer. I'm hoping that this horse can do it, and the horse is 10-1 on the morning line. Again, Joel Rosario riding for a lower profile barn. Obviously, Irad Ortiz couldn't get this horse home. I'm not sure what makes me think Rosario can, but I'm going to be willing to take somewhere upwards of 10-1 if the horse is at that price. Again, more of a B pick for me. My top 2 are Strike Midnight, the 8, and Acoustic, the 3, in the finale at Aqueduct on Saturday. So, Ray, this to me strikes me as a race that you went pretty deep in. I don't know that for sure, but please tell me if I'm right.
The interest of the race makes me want to go deep. So when the time comes to make the bet, I might just start clicking numbers because man,
just hit one box. All baby, all baby.
Got the money, bet all, because this could be a bomb. But I do like Strike Midnight. I mean, second race at this level, ran well last time, switches to size. I like that move. Losing the race, he tired, and he should rebound for a good run. He looks like he's rebounding, and they keep dropping him, and this might be level to perform well. So he was the favorite, and they try again, same level, and I think he'll come out. He should come out close. He'll be closer to wire. Trader, I like that horse, like you said. Um, Ran well last year on this course. In the same, this horse been on this condition forever. It seems like they've been trying to go to 50, 35, 25, 50, 30. So the last race seems to me he might be running back to form, running a good second. Usually in claimers, I like to see a horse running well to bet them to win. If they've won already, I try to lean against them because they already, like you say, shot their load. They ran there so well that it's hard to repeat sometimes. That's my opinion. But I like to bet horses that are progressing towards the winner circle. So this horse coming second, and I like him at a price 10-1. Rosario for Ortiz. He was on him, and he lost by half a length at 25-1. So, and Mike Maselli, for all these years I've known him, like being in the New York circuit, he's a long shot trainer. He puts in some bombs. So when he wins that price. One, he might drift up. I do like also another long shot here. I mean, just now Princess from the outside. This horse, he's progressing a little bit. He's won 2 in a row and seems to be rounding to form. I mean, definitely it's a lower class. He's moving up now. He's going up, and I did like the last race. Last race he ran very well, and with Kimmel and Abel Scano, they should do well. At 15-1, I'll take a chance. But I tell you, if I had my first impression is just to bet everybody because this is a really wide open race. I have no really definite favorites, so just spread them, and we'll be spreading here because we're gonna have a different opinion. So, all right, Rich, this is the last one, Claymont on the turf. This is the race that you go home and right at the exit, and you grab a pretzel. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm fighting a cold over here, so I've been sneezing. I've been talking into that. As you see here, the check mark's on strike midnight. So I hate to be redundant and go right over the same information that I've already done, that you've already heard from the other two guys. Nice closing. Nice closer here. Philip Serpa is 35% when he has the beaten favorite, and this horse did lose as the favorite in that last one. This particular race, as far as the back page stats, you actually still get 50% going wire to wire. And yet 67% going to the early P types. So this horse is kind of going against the bias just a little bit. So I did back it up with the favorite. I did go with Cheyenne Bull, the 10 horse up here. Again, one from the front, one from the back. And Irad Ortiz and Jason Service. And Service's numbers are all really, really good at this particular track at this particular distance and claiming and everything else. So even him and Irad Ortiz hit 35% together. So I try and get by the favorite in most cases like that, and in this particular case, just thought I'll throw in the 10. I kind of hear what Joe and Ray are saying. I thought this was a really difficult race as far as the get out race was concerned. And if you have the money and you've got the options and you've got a single that's earlier in the race that can save it to you, this could be an opportunity for you to go ahead and put the all button in. I only went ahead with 8 and 10. Ray has got 8, 2, and 11. And Joe has got 8, 3, and 2. I think I got that correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I will go ahead and come on back. Yeah, we'll go ahead and move along and get our pick 4 fired up here. Woo. All right. I think I have got mine and Joe's picks already up here. And Ray, I think I will have to go ahead and pop yours in as we kind of go along here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, 8. And that's Joe in the black type. And that's Rich down there on the bottom in the blue type. And I will change Ray into his red type here in a second. All right. Just tell me if those all look correct, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here we go. All right, so you got Ray. For those of you who are watching, Ray is in the red, Joe's in the black, and that's Rich down there on the bottom in the blue. And on top of that, we'll go ahead and put in our group pick, and that'll always be in green. And I see 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8. I also see the 2, so 2 with 6, 7, 8. 7, 8. And in the second leg, I got, let's see, 4, 5, 3, 8. You got 3, 8, and 8, 11 down there. So, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 3, and how about 8? The 11 that I have down here, we can leave it off a while. That's the favorite right now, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got the consensus over here is on the 5. Oops. Get down there, and then let's see here. 3, 8, 3, 8. I see 8.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would be 32 on that one, right? That's the caveman. 4 times 4 times 4, or the single.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be 32. If we wanted to, we could double it if we wanted to put in. That's my top pick from this race would be the 3. Should be 3, 5.
That's fine. That would be
64.
64. That's fine by me.
Right?
Yeah.
So 4 times 4 times 4 times 2. So we got 2, 6, 7, 8 with 3, 4, 5, 8 with 3, 5 with 2, 3, 8, 11. You got that one, Joe?
Yep.
All right.
And then run out of ink, but yeah, I got it.
All right, let me come on back and we will wrap this one up. Ta-da! All right. For those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, we will be back next week because, well, that's what the Three Broke Guys do. We're going to get together and take a look at another exciting card. I believe we're coming right back to Aqueduct, right? It's the Cigar Mile next weekend.
Rich, I thought we were going to do a second show this weekend.
Excuse me. For those of you who have been paying attention, we are going to be doing a second show this weekend. So we will actually be back on tomorrow night to do Del Mar, and then we'll be back next week to go ahead and take a look at the Cigar Mile. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's always a pleasure to handicap with the two of you.
Yes, let me grab my suntan lotion. Come on again.
Yeah, well, we'll be at Del Mar tomorrow. At least that's the plan right now. So,
yeah. For Joe
English,
the
weather out here, you will need suntan lotion.
Yeah.
Oh, she going tomorrow? Nice.
All right, for Joe. Okay, for Joe English and for Ray Torado, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching Three Broke Guys Handicapping. Good luck and good night.